Hello friends, this is Sharmi from the Amateur Gardener coming back to you with another video. I hope y'all are enjoying your time in the garden. It's summer and almost summer and things are starting to flourish. And veggies are taking off. A lot of things are doing really well. But this video is mostly about Japanese maples and what I do to grow them in the Houston area. We do have thick clay soil here in the Houston area, as well as our summer heat and humidity are over the roof, and all of this together make it really hard to grow Japanese maples here. That said, I love them and I always try to stretch my boundaries a little bit and have been successful in growing Japanese maples in my garden. Now that said, I have had my fair share of failures, but so far there are a few things that I do keep in mind when I grow Japanese maples, and let me go through them one by one. First is, of course, location. That is super important. Japanese maples will not take our summer heat, especially in the afternoon. No matter what they say that it is a full sun Japanese maple, it means that it is a full sun in other areas, in like zone 5, 6, 7. They will take full sun, but come in Houston, they're not going to take full sun. So what I do is try to give them no more than about maybe 3 hours of sun. Most of them are in filtered sun, so they are planted as like understory plants, or they are planted like strategically in between like buildings so that they get shade for most of the day. Now, none of them get afternoon sun, so you have to place it in a right microclimate where you know that they will get maybe some filtered morning sun, or probably some of the hardier ones may do okay with a few hours of early morning sun, but anything that is getting sun after like noon or 1 p.m., that is too much for that maple. It may do okay if it is planted as an understory plant, like under a big tree, and that way it gets filtered sun all day. That may be okay. But if it is like planted fully in the open, that is not going to work for your maple. Not in Houston. That is number one. That's location. Now, number two is soil. Soil is very important. We have thick, gooey, clay soil here in Houston, which is very nutrient rich. It's not, don't take me otherwise. Nutrients are not the issue. It is the thick clay soil with poor drainage that is the issue. So, when we bought our house, we had grass everywhere. It was a decent sized lot, but it literally flooded when the first rain hit. And this is like several years ago. It wasn't that big of a deal rain as well. It was like raining for a couple of days and all our yard was flooded. The streets did not flood. Our area doesn't flood. It didn't even flood during Harvey, but the yard was flooded. And so what I did was install French drains, and since then story has been different. So we installed French drains in both sides of our yard. We are on a cul-de-sac, so we have like a backyard which is now mostly taken up by a pool and some veggies, and then we have yards on either side of the house. So we installed French drains on either side, and that has been a game changer. Now we hardly ever get any flooding, and even if we do, the water is like a little layer and it stands there for about maybe an hour at most, and then the water drains. So French drains are huge. And then we have had beautiful neighbors on either side of our property that have also installed French drains on their lot, so it makes our life a lot easier. So that's about drainage. So you have to make sure that you have good drainage. Now, going back to the soil, almost all of my garden is on a raised bed. Most of them are like at least 2 to 3 stones high, and some of them are like mortared in, and so they are like more than a foot to like 15 to sometimes a foot and a half high. I do amend the soil mostly with compost. I have used compost extensively in my garden, and some of them are mixed with some topsoil, some with some sand to improve drainage. Now, drainage has not been an issue in any of my garden beds, and since they are not sitting on wheat cloth, they are sitting on the native soil, I do not get flooding or standing water in those beds even if it rains for days. Now I do have some raised beds on top of raised beds where I plant my veggies. So veggies are either in like raised birdies beds, and I have also used some 4x4s to create raised beds like this one that you see here. That's a full 4x4 raised bed, and here I'm growing eggplants this year. I was growing tomatoes last year, but this year the eggplants are like full. But anyway, getting back to raised beds. So my Japanese maples are all in raised beds, and there I can amend the soil, I can make sure that the drainage is good, so that helps in growing Japanese maples for sure. That is my experience, and I'm not saying this is something that you have to do. Other than drainage, soil, and location, the other thing is fertilization. So if it is a raised bed, you have to make sure that the soil is rich enough, then there are nutrients in the soil that the plants can absorb and look great every year. So I do fertilize all of my garden in its entirety once a year. That is usually in like late February, sometimes if I slack, and it may be early March, but usually it is late February as it was this year. So I use Hollytone for a vast majority of my garden, other than my veggies, which get fertilized differently and they get more frequent fertilization. And then my flowers get also mostly Hollytone once a year. Now some of them like roses may get a special mix, but most of my trees, most of my shrubs and perennials get Hollytone, and so far I have had no issues with them. There was a year I think I used tree tone for some of my trees, but then I just made it simple, and over the last 2 years I've just been using Hollytone, and that has worked well for me. And that is all my Japanese maples get. I do not fertilize them again in the year, and once a year has been doing really well for me, and it is also manageable for me. I have a pretty decent sized garden considering it's a suburban lot, but so if I had to fertilize more often, that would be a lot of work for me. So those are the 4 things I keep in mind when growing Japanese maples. Number 1 is location. There is nothing more important than that. Number 2 is the drainage. That is also very, very important because they need well-draining soils. Not fully sandy soils, but well-draining soils. They don't like standing water for any length of time. Number 3 is what you put in a soil. Is it amended? Is it hard clay? I don't think clay would give rise to better drainage. So it has poor drainage. So you have to do something about that. And number 4 is fertilizer. Of course, you need nutrients in that soil. I also add earthworm castings to the raised beds. That's because even though they are planted on top of native soil, they need something to churn the soil so that it mixes well. There's nothing better than worm castings. So without much more talking, let me take you and show you my maples that I have, and also the new maple that I bought and planted recently into a pot, and I'm planning to keep that in a pot for at least this year. We'll figure out later on what we want to do with it or where we want to plant it. So let's get going. So this is the first Japanese maple that I would be showing you. This one is a red dragon. Let me get a little bit closer. This is the one that was kind of partially destroyed. As you can see, like it's a lace leaf one. It's a purple lace leaf one, or you can call it purple to red. You can see there is a big branch here, there is another branch here, but the branch from this side, there were 2 of them. It was a nice shape. Those got destroyed when we were doing some landscaping job here. But anyways, it's nicely growing back, and I kind of like the kind of cascading shape. I cannot call it fully cascading, but it is a beautiful shape. I do like it, and I'm hoping it grows out. I can see more growth from here, and I'm hoping it grows out more. It produces a beautiful fall color, like more close to like bright red in the fall, and so that is one. And this maple has been with me for the last, I would say, maybe 7 years, something like that. Okay, let me show you the next one. Next one, right now it is fairly small. This is a Fireglow. This is the Fireglow Japanese maple. I love the color of the leaf. This is Acer palmatum. It is not the lace leaf variety, but this one is supposed to grow fast and one of the faster growing ones, and this one is supposed to grow quite tall, so like at least 10 to 15 feet tall, I believe. I'll have to look up the numbers. I can put those on the over here, but as you can see, it's in shade, and the only reason it's in shade in over most of the year is because of this huge vitex tree, and it's like thick shade. If you can see, this is a big vitex tree. The sun is coming, but it's not reaching the maple. Let me show you my third one. This is the third Japanese maple that I have. This is a huge one. This one is a Seiryu Japanese maple. As you can see, it's in a raised bed, and it is fully leafed out now and looks lush. It is a lace leaf variety, but it is green in color. Becomes a bright yellow color in the fall. You can see it from this side too. It's at least like 10 feet tall, probably more, and then it's a big tree. If you go underneath it, that is the trunk, and I love the shape. I haven't pruned it at all since I've had it, but this is how it looks. This is a pretty significantly older tree. This is, I believe, at least 12-13 years old. Okay, now showing you another of my favorites. It's this one. This is a coral bark Japanese maple. It is also a green one. Let me show you the leaves. This is how it looks, green with some red tips. And the main attraction for this maple is the red bark. And in winter, when it's completely defoliated and dormant, the red bark shows up very beautifully. It is also pretty large. As you can see, the trunk is pretty thick, and if I put my phone against it, it is, you can see the kind of understand how thick it is. And this also is probably a pretty old specimen, at least I would say 12 years, probably more. But this is where it is, and if you look at the location where it is planted, the hydrangea looks very beautiful there, but I'll save my hydrangea tour later on. This one, you can see the tip of it is getting some sun now, but most of the time this is in shade. The roots are definitely in shade, and then this gets about, I would say, 3 hours of sun, like direct hot sun at most. So that was maple number 4. The last in-ground maple that I wanted to show you is this one. This is much smaller, and this was planted about a year ago. This is Kamisaka Nishiki. This is actually a Batwing Japanese maple, and it is just starting to leaf out. Hopefully I can see little stubs here, but it leaves out from the bottom and then it goes up. The leaves whitish with green speckles ish, and sometimes it has like parts of it is like regular green color. That is a Batwing Japanese maple. Last but not the least, I want to show you this maple that I recently bought. This is from Costco. This is a Tamukeyama. It's a weeping lace leaf Japanese maple. I put it in this pretty big pot. I don't know how big it is, but it's really big. So here is the maple. I love the shape. The leaves, I think it turns from green to this reddish color, and let me give you a look. This is how it looks. I just got it planted last night. It's about 4 feet high with the pot. The plant itself is probably about 3 feet high, and this area gets a little bit of morning sun, and even that is filtered by this huge plum tree. So I'm going to keep it here for at least the next few days till it settles down in this new pot, and then I'm going to figure out a place to put it. And this one is weeping, and I love weeping maples. So anyway, I'm going to keep it in this pot right in front of my shed door. I'm not planning to open the door in the next few days, so I'll keep it here till it settles down in its new pot here, and then I'll be putting it somewhere else where it gets either filtered sun or a little bit of morning sun, but that's it. Okay, so hopefully you liked the video about maples. My experience with maples is not that much. I have failed, of course, but then over the last several years my maples have been starting to thrive and doing really well. I definitely would like to have more. I have a lot of shade spaces now that a lot of my trees have grown up. It has shade underneath, and I can do like a understory planting with Japanese maples there. If you like the video, do hit a like and do subscribe to my channel, and keep looking out for the next video that will be on probably on hydrangeas. So until I see you in my next video, bye bye.